Okay, this video has been a long time coming. I've had a lot of people reaching out to me asking whether compounded semaglutide or compounded tirzepatide are safe and effective to take. And it makes sense as to why people are reaching out so much, because there has been an unprecedented demand to the point where we have got massive drug shortages with the commercially available products like Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, and Zepbound. Further to all of this, you may have an insurance company that doesn't provide coverage for these drugs, and particularly in the US, these drugs can be outrageously expensive if you have to pay out of pocket. So it's going to make sense if you can get access to something that's readily available and is considerably cheaper. But of course, these aren't the commercially available products, so are they safe to take? Is there something that you need to know? What are the ins and the outs and that sort of thing? Now, the two main molecules of interest that have come up are semaglutide, aka Ozempic, aka Wegovy, and tirzepatide, aka Mounjaro, aka Zepbound. And before we dive into kind of the ins and the outs and what my thoughts are, let's do a little bit of background. So in order for a drug company to get a drug like Ozempic to market, they have to do an extensive amount of testing and clinical trials and collect a whole whopping ton of data in order to demonstrate that the drug is not only effective, but it is also safe. And the entire process to get a drug to market usually takes anywhere from 8 to 10 years. So it's initially going to start with just synthesizing and creating this molecule, to then going into kind of petri dishes and a lot of benchtop type work, to then moving into rodent and then eventually into human clinical trials to demonstrate the safety and efficacy of these drugs. It is then based on all of this data that a health regulator like the FDA will then say yay or nay that you can bring your drug to market. Once a said drug is then approved, a drug company will then start mass producing these drugs based on the specific formulation and based on the specific device or capsule or tablet or whatever they ultimately used in the clinical trial. They will then start mass producing it based on those specific parameters that was approved by the FDA. If a drug manufacturer suddenly decides that they want to change the recipe or formulation of the drug, or change the device, or change something else that could affect the safety and efficacy of this molecule, they then have to do some more testing and data collection and present it to the FDA or other health regulator to get that approved. When it comes to compounding medications, what essentially we're doing is, in a compounding pharmacy, they have a recipe, just like you would have a recipe for making your dinner tonight, that has all the various ingredients and components that the pharmacy members will then mix together. They will add things, alter things. It could be things like altering the dosage and concentration of the commercially available product. It could be taking away certain things. It could be adding certain things. There's a whole different slew of all kinds of things that can be done within a compounding pharmacy. Ultimately, the purpose of it is to create a personalized, customized product for a specific patient. The situations where a compounding pharmacy might do these kinds of things are in situations where a patient needs a specific formulation. So let's say a drug only comes in a tablet form. A compounding pharmacy might break that tablet down and ultimately make it into a liquid form. Or if a patient has an allergy to a component of the commercially available product, the compounding pharmacy will remove that component and still be able to give the patient the drug and such like that they need. And in the other instance where a compounding pharmacy can compound drugs is if there is a drug shortage, or if a manufacturer discontinues making the commercially available product, then a compounding pharmacy, if they can get their hands on the individual ingredients and stuff to make that molecule or that drug, they can then compound it. All right, everything sound pretty good so far? We're kind of on the same page? Yeah? So while there is definitely the pretty good and certainly the role of compounding pharmacies in certain situations, here is some of my concerns and problems with the current situation with semaglutide and tirzepatide compounding. But before I dive into that, I want to remind you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. As well, check out the OG members membership side of my YouTube channel. Every single month for my OG members, I provide them a once monthly live where they can bring their questions, concerns, or what have you, and I will answer them in real time. As well, we've got a whole bunch of things in the works currently for the OG members of my membership page, so definitely check out the links down below so that you can sign up and don't miss out on all of that. And of course, thank you for the ongoing support. So one of the big problems right out the gate is that compounding pharmacies are not using the semaglutide and tirzepatide formulations that are found in the commercially available products like Ozempic and Mounjaro. You see, the drug manufacturers, Novo Nordisk for Ozempic and Wegovy and Eli Lilly for Zepbound and Mounjaro, currently have ongoing patents on the specific formulations of semaglutide and tirzepatide. Basically, that gives them a monopoly as being the only company that can package, produce, and sell these specific formulations of Ozempic and tirzepatide. And so compounding pharmacies are obtaining formulations and different salts and that sort of thing that have semaglutide and have tirzepatide within them, but they're different than the commercially available ones because, well, Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk are the only ones that have those formulations at present. And if you're a drug company that has a patent on this molecule and such, but you can't keep up with the current demand of creating the drug and getting it to market yourself, why would you then turn around and sell their drug and these formulations to compounding pharmacies so that they can ultimately compound and make money off of them? It wouldn't really make any sense, right? So in theory, this doesn't sound like a bad thing, right? We're just kind of substituting a salt, so it's like table salt for sea salt kind of thing. But the problem here is that when we're looking at pharmaceutical ingredients and pharmaceutical molecules, these salts can have big differences. And you see, the salt formulations that Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly currently have, those are the ones that have undergone the clinical rigorous testing and determined that they are safe, they are effective, and they have been approved by the FDA. These other formulations that are being used have never been tested, so we don't know if they're safe and efficacious in humans. Are they going to do the same thing? Is there going to be other problems and stuff like that? So there's a lot of big question marks as to whether these drugs and these salt formulations are even going to be safe for human use. And at present, because of those issues and concerns, the FDA and other health regulators like Health Canada actually don't approve the use of these other salt formulations to make up for the current shortages that are on the market. So the compounding pharmacies are kind of doing a bit of a no-no right now. The other big problem that has come up is a lot of these compounding pharmacies are actually getting their hands on what are considered research grade formulations or products and not pharmaceutical grade or human grade products. The problem here is that research grade products are not held to the same standard that we hold pharmaceutical products to. So they may not have the same level of purity, there may be other impurities present that could be potentially harmful, there may be problems with concentration. All of these sorts of things are definitely a bit problematic because research grade is, well, used for research purposes in a lab with petri dishes and not necessarily or shouldn't be used in humans because it doesn't go to that same high standard of what a pharmaceutical grade product is. Now, really quickly here, because I've had a few keyboard warriors kind of come at me and they say things like, but they got the certificate of analysis. What a certificate of analysis means is basically whatever's written on the label, this certificate of analysis just confirms that, yes, what's written on the label is indeed what is in the actual product or container that is in front of you right here. Basically, it just confirms that we have a semaglutide salt product here that is indeed research grade. The other piece of things here is that it wouldn't necessarily be hard to just have somebody create a certificate of analysis or kind of do a shoddy work in that regard of things, because the other big problem is that we don't know where these formulations, where they're being manufactured, where they're coming from. There's a lot of big question marks about what exactly is going on and what are the products that are indeed being used for these compounded drugs. And in fact, a number of these compounded formulations that have been available in the US of A have actually been analyzed and they have been found to have impurities and they have been found to have a lower concentration than what is actually written on the label. So ultimately, people are paying for a whole bunch of extra impurities, which potentially could be harmful, and they're paying for a diluted drug. Another issue that we're running into with these compounding pharmacies is that they're often mixing these drugs with other ingredients such as vitamin B12, vitamin B6, and they're essentially putting together these formulations that, again, haven't been tested, haven't undergone the proper parameters and sets of things to confirm that they are indeed safe and effective. We don't know what happens when these products ultimately mix together, and in a lot of cases they're promoting these products and saying that they have these extra benefits like giving you more energy, like helping out with further fat loss, all kinds of false claims that haven't been demonstrated in the literature. My other big problem with these compounding pharmacies is that they're creating these compounded semaglutide and tirzepatide products on quite large scales. Now, in a compounding pharmacy, it's not being done by machines or anything like that. It is being done by humans, someone hopefully in a very sterile environment, especially with these injectable products, mixing and putting together these products and stuff like that, and then ultimately them being packaged up and sold to, individuals such as yourself. The problem here is that, well, humans tend to be error prone. Machines are ultimately just better at doing this kind of stuff, especially repetitive tasks over and over again. Machines do not get tired, they do not get exhausted, and ultimately there's a lot more checks and balances that can be put in place to ensure that a machine is doing its job correctly compared to a human. So overall, there is a much greater chance of error because of that human element, and whether it's a human, putting together the wrong dosage concentration, maybe a dosage that's too high, too low, mixing together the wrong products, or potentially contamination with, say, a fungi or bacteria that can ultimately then get into the product and get to you as an individual. And unfortunately, there has been a number of cases that have occurred over the years where there has been, say, a fungi getting into a compounded product that has led to the death of many individuals. And hey, if you're currently on your weight management journey, but you are struggling along the way and you are wanting some additional support, be sure to check the links down below in the description as well as in the first comment there. You can either book a one-on-one coaching session with myself to get some support on your weight management journey, or you can shoot me an email and we can discuss about longer-term coaching options of working with myself one-on-one to help you manage your weight into the long term. Again, the link is down below, so be sure to check it out. So that's kind of some of the practical things that I have a bit of a problem with when it comes to these compounding pharmacies. And if that wasn't enough for you to kind of maybe deter you away from going towards a compounding product, let's talk about some of my more, other concerns I have. I think one of my big issues that I have with this product overall comes down to an individual's and a company's ethics when they're creating a product like this. You see, a lot of that information that I just provided is not hard to find. A lot of it is known by healthcare providers and by pharmacists, particularly those that are working in compounding pharmacies. And so if a healthcare professional in good conscience can prescribe or compound one of these products with that knowledge and with those ideas in mind, because they're trying to help people, I really, really question their ethics and what it is exactly that they're hoping to gain from it if it's not just a financial benefit. And I mean, at the end of the day, do you really think they have your best interest in mind? So to wrap things up here, do I recommend these compounded products like compounded semaglutide or compounded tirzepatide? The short answer is no. Absolutely not. There is just way too many concerns with regards to safety, efficacy. We have no clinical data to back this stuff up and to say that they can be used in a safe and efficacious manner. There is just way too many questions, and I just would not be comfortable in any kind of way giving it to anybody that is involved with my practice. Now, for the people that are going to be in my comment section saying that I'm paid by Big Pharma and blah, 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 I mean, I wish. My student loans really would tell a different story of how I'm not paid by Big Pharma. I certainly would take a payout at this point in time. It would make dealing with those kinds of comments in all of my social media channel comment sections much easier and would certainly help me to pay off my student loans. But that is another reason why you should sign up for my membership group down below and help to pay off my student loans for me, all right? But in all seriousness, when it comes to these compounded products and stuff like that, I get it. I get that we have an unprecedented demand. I get that there is all of these shortages going on and that these drugs are stupid expensive. But going to a source that we don't know if it's safe, that we don't know if it's efficacious, we don't know what's going to happen to you in 5, 10, 15 years from now if you start taking these products, it is just not worth it in the name of weight loss. And I mean, in reality, taking a product that could potentially be harmful in order to lose weight to be healthy, well, that kind of defeats the whole thing that you're trying to do there of being healthy, right? So in the meantime, what I recommend is do your best to just keep holding on patiently, waiting for things to change in terms of these shortages. Things are hopefully going to get better here in the near future. As well, continue to lobby your governments and get them to be involved and start saying that pharmacy benefit managers can't cause a huge increase in the cost of these medications, and they also need to start covering these damn medications for people who are struggling with obesity. In terms of managing your weight and moving forward with your health outcomes, focus on that. Focus on being as healthy as you possibly can, increasing your activity, getting whole foods in, all of those really great and wonderful things, because I can guarantee you, actually I have a lot of data to back this up, that just increasing your activity can greatly reduce the risks that come with having excess fat tissue. Ultimately though, it is your choice. I do not recommend it in any kind of way. I've had a lot of people reach out and almost try and ask me for permission and kind of say, yes, go for it, and kind of get that backing, if you will. But I just can't in good conscience do that, because it is not in the best interest of the people who follow me, but also my patients. So that is it, and that is all, my friends. Hopefully that answers your question as to whether these compounded products are safe and effective and whether you should take them or not. If there is any other comments, concerns, and what have you, be sure to drop them down below, and I will do my best to kind of answer some of them and such like that. If you're going to be a hater and all that wonderful jazz, I just do not care, so do not even bother. Otherwise, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below so that you don't miss when I put out another video, which is happening every single Monday. As well, check out the OG membership side of my YouTube channel, where you get to have a YouTube live with myself every single month. You can bring your questions, concerns, and I will answer them in real live time. As well, for the OG members, we've got a lot of other things that are currently in the books, so don't worry, there's going to be some other goodies that are coming down the pipeline, so be sure to check it out, sign up so you don't miss out. As well, check me out on my other channels at The Official Dr. Dan. I'm on the Tick, the Talk, the Gram, you name it, I am out there. And of course, as I always sign off, please remember that it's going to be those small tweaks that lead to those massive peaks.